Hello and welcome to Good Evening Britain, a Force for Good's weekly show coming to you live from our studios here in the heart of the great British city of Glasgow, with me, your host, Alistair McConnachie, and we're broadcasting throughout the United Kingdom and around the world on all our digital platforms, bringing you quality pro-UK comment and analysis on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter, and on TikTok simultaneously. It's going to be a great show, and I'm so excited about it because at the bottom of the hour at 7:30 we have a fantastic and articulate guest coming on. It's none other than the legend who is Gold Eagle from Unity News, and I know that Gold Eagle has a good personal following, and he always talks a lot of sense in his own inimitable and amusing way. So looking forward to speaking with Gold Eagle. That's at 7:30, and that'll be for 20 minutes. And before the bottom of the hour as well, we'll have our competition, which will be for another of these fantastic little E2R 70-year badges, which say the Queen's Platinum Jubilee 1952 to 2022, and we'll be asking a competition about that at the bottom of the hour, and all you need to do is send your answers in to contact@aforceforgood.uk. And before then, folks, do send in your comments. As we said there, do send in your comments. Tell us what's on your mind. Tell us how your week has been. Tell us what's rubbing you up the right way or what's rubbing you up the wrong way. And we can discuss it and we can set the world to rights in the next hour, because goodness me, we need to set the world to rights. Thanks to people on TikTok and also commenting. Love to hear from you. Tell us where you're watching from, folks. Quite a few people coming in. We've got Harry Brown, who says, good evening, unionists everywhere. We've got Debbie, who says, good evening, everyone. And we've got Adam Bray. Hello, Adam. How are you this evening? And Tommy, good to see Tommy, and also Alan. And thank you for sending me that document, Alan, from the Scottish National Party that I've been looking at and reading with interest. The Scottish Nationalists produced a little booklet. I think they tried to copy our wee book for the Union, but goodness me, they made it in print. That's the smallest print I have ever seen. If you could imagine an old-fashioned newspaper with tiny little print in it, and then divide that by 10, that's how small the print would be. So literally nobody's going to read that Scottish Nationalist booklet that was sent to us, which is just as well, because they would have only been made more foolish by it. They would not have learned anything of value. Nathan, how are you? I hope everybody had a great Jubilee celebration. Well, absolutely, I hope you did. And if anybody did anything interesting around the Jubilee time, please tell us, and we'll tell everybody. We did something interesting, which we'll get to in a minute. Good evening, Catherine and Alan and Kenny from East Kilbride, and to Thomas, good evening all. Derek, great crew in this evening from Armadale, great village here in Scotland. Kenny says, just read today that the SNP need a transfer of power to hold an indie ref without a Section 30. Well, they certainly want to hold an indie ref. In fact, I think we've got the front cover of the National today, and let's see if we can flag that up. No, we don't have it that's something that I didn't upload, but I'll upload it now. And what it was basically saying was that Sturgeon is just going ahead with preparing for another referendum, and she seems to be awfully brazen in talking about how she's going to hold it next year. And you wonder just what quite is up her sleeve at the moment on those sorts of matters, because it's not physically possible for her to do. It's not legally possible for her to do it. And that's the front of the National Day. Scotland's administration can prepare for Indy. Well, it can prepare to try to fly to the moon, I suppose, as well. That doesn't actually mean everything. But what it then says here, it says exclusive. First Minister says Indy ref will happen next year, whether Johnston's PM or not. That's very unusual. She knows she can't hold a legal one, so what's she playing at? Again, she's hoping that by the time next year rolls around, people will have forgotten that headline. And she may well be right. She's maybe just playing around here with the idea that we'll just keep promising the carrot but never delivering it. But all this time, of course, what she's doing is campaigning essentially against the United Kingdom and being negative towards it and bringing it down. And that's just all she wants to do. And that's all that they will do, unfortunately. Now, folks, please subscribe, please like and share this work. That's how we get around. That's how we reach new people, especially if you share it, whether on Facebook or YouTube, or retweet it on Twitter. If you retweet our work, then other people will see it. If you retweet it with a quote comment, then we can retweet that to even more people, to over 27,000 people. Absolutely. Samuel says, good evening AFG. I hope everyone had a fantastic Platinum Jubilee. I do feel it unified the nation and Commonwealth like nothing else in the last 10 years. I believe it was so needed. I think so, Samuel. It created a lot of good vibes, and that's so important. It's so important to create good vibes, even when you're creating negative, especially when we have so many negative vibes being created as well. It's good to create good vibes. It helps everything. It helps the planet, basically. Good vibrations, as they used to sing back in the 60s. How much longer must we suffer under this assembly, asks Thomas. Well, probably quite a while. Unfortunately, so the best thing to do is just to get one's mental state right and not let the bad news of every day bring you down, to try to stand back from it, to see the long view. And the long view is so important. And in our latest magazine, Union Heart, we quoted something that the Queen had said. She said it in her Christmas broadcast in 2002, and we've put the wee heading here, Her Majesty's Recipe for Living. And she says, I know that the only way to live my life is to try to do what is right, to take the long view, to give of my best in all that the day brings, and to put my trust in God. To take the long view, to give of my best, to try to do what is right and put your trust in God. And that's really where we're at the moment, especially when we on planet Earth have such, or it seems such, bad politicians running us. But we'll always have bad politicians running us. That's just unfortunately the way of things. It's for us to navigate through all the chaos and try to hold fast to the permanent things. Gosh, getting quite philosophical this evening. Frankie says Nicola Sturgeon is not the first Minister of Scotland, she's the first clown of Scotland. And Stephen says the SNP don't want to debate the facts of Indy, that's why she is leaving the announcement of a date as long as possible. Hi to TC. Adam says he'd laugh if the Scottish Parliament unilaterally declared an Indy Ref 2 and it got shut down by the UK Supreme Court like Spain did to Catalonia. Well, that would be interesting, wouldn't it? Would it get shut down, or would we just stumble on as we always tend to do here in the United Kingdom? You know, we were out on Saturday with our street stall, and we've got a few pictures here. Let's put up the first picture of our street stall, and I want to say a big shout out, thank you to the two ladies who came along to help myself. There was Gillian, and there was Catherine. And thanks, there we are in the centre with several of the great British public around us. They were very interested to see what we were saying. That was on the Jubilee Saturday, that was on the 4th there, so we've got the flag flying high. Let's put up another picture. That's myself and a lady who helped us, and again, beautiful day, and we got a lot of comments. Okay, let's put up another one and see that. Isn't that nice? That was our two flags. The one that's behind me at the moment, plus, well, both of them are behind me at the moment, and the wind caught it just at the time when the camera clicked the word loveliness in the background, and I thought that was pretty good. That was pretty good. So, and that's also our two helpers with our magazine, which we launched, Happy and Glorious. Okay. That's our 12-page magazine, Union Heart. But one of the things that came out of that, meeting the public, and everybody was nice. It was a really good day. We got lots of people at the table. Everybody's very friendly. A couple of Scottish nationalists had slightly bizarre opinions, which I'll share with you in a moment. But the main feeling really was people coming up to us wishing that there had been more of a thing going on in Glasgow, in the sense of, at least it would have been easy enough for the council, for example, to have commandeered George Square and basically just had a family day. You know, charities could put up their tents and stick a bouncy castle in there, have a few things for the children, and some burger vans and ice cream and so on. It doesn't take too much imagination. The council could easily have done it, and they could have had some Union Jack banners. But oh no, they can't do it. And of course they make up these stupid excuses. But there's people living in poverty. We can't spend a single penny on the Jubilee. Oh, but you can spend 20 million. Put it aside and you can spend 20 million on a referendum for next year that's not going to happen. You know how little it would have cost to put on something in George Square, and it would have paid for itself as far as economic activity in the centre of Glasgow was concerned. It would easily have paid for itself. So when you hear politicians talking about they're not going to do something, and then they use the poor as an excuse why they're not going to do it, you know they're full of it. You know they're full of it. And you know they're just not doing it because they politically and ideologically disagree with it. That's the only reason politicians will bring out the poor, only in order to justify their own inaction. Oh, we're going to save, £5,000 by not having an event in George Square. But, we're going to spend £5,000 instead on a food bank, are we? No, of course they're not. They're just going to put it into somebody else's salary down at the city chambers, One of these other over-remunerated jobs worth that basically trough at the endless trough, which is the Scottish governmental sector. Anyway, So that was their excuse. But one or two of the other cities were doing stuff. I know Edinburgh did something, Aberdeen did stuff as well. But unfortunately, if you elect SNP Green people, you will just get miserableism. You'll get the politics of miserableism, which is all that the SNP and Greens are good for. They're not happy people. They're not well balanced. They're just angry people, man. Oh, they are angry, and you see that in our TikTok feed at the moment, for example. People getting upset and angry, and that's just the nature of their life. Well, what I have to say to them is listen to what the Queen said, and just try to do your best, try to do what is right, take each day as it comes, and put your trust in God. Adam says Sturgeon was exposed as being a unionist. She held a Union Jack during the Queen's Jubilee. Didn't she just... Well, do you know what? I mean, I don't have a whole lot of love lost for Nicola Sturgeon, but there was a good comment that she made. Let's see if I can find it here among my army of comments. And here it is. Nicola Sturgeon, this is Nicola Sturgeon speaking, okay? Nicola Sturgeon, in an interview with the BBC, she said, quote, "One of the things that I feel great respect for the Queen is just that dedication, that selfless commitment to duty and to service." Close quote. And then speaking about her conversations with the monarch, she said, quote, "That opportunity to talk with her, to benefit from her knowledge, her wisdom, and perhaps above all the unique perspective she has on modern world history is something that I deeply value and will always treasure." Close quote. And that's Nicola Sturgeon quoted in The National on the 6th of June 2022. So we'll see, we might try to make sure that quote gets some greater traction, because it certainly is a good quote from what some people might say is an unlikely source. But as we always say, we like to see the best of everybody. We like to do that. And while I was going through some stuff today, I also found a quote from Rod Stewart, which I like, writing in The Times on the 3rd of June 2022. Rod Stewart says that the Queen is, quote, a mainstay... No, sorry. The monarchy is, quote, a mainstay of British life, as strong now as it was in 1952. So that's Rod Stewart quoted in The Times, which is a nice comment. Mainstay of British life. That's a good phrase. I'm going to write that down. I'm going to remember it, and we'll use it again at some point, because that's what is so important, is so many journalists use big words to say very little. And you can actually sum up almost every thought mankind has ever had in probably less than 10 words, if you really think about it. And that's a good one. Mainstay of British life is the monarchy. Everybody knows what you mean by that as well. And it's got strength and value in those few words. Adam says, is 20 million on a referendum lawful? Well, do you know what? That's a very good point. And I know that Lord Foulkes is taking a position that this needs to be challenged. Lord Foulkes is a Labour peer, and he's working at the moment to try to get the British government to stop giving money to the civil service if the civil service is going to use it to undermine the United Kingdom itself with such a political objective. And it should easily be something that they should be able to do if they have the moral stamina to stop the civil service doing this. The British government should be able to do it. The head of the British service, the British civil service, is a cabinet minister. Okay? So it's not too difficult. If the British government wants to stop Sturgeon spending the 20 million, they can do it Why do they not stop her? Perhaps they're afraid of negative press publicity, which they would certainly get, of course, but they would just have to weather that. Now, we have got a great guest coming up at 7:30 with Gold Eagle. You'll really enjoy Gold Eagle. He's a very intelligent, very articulate spokesman for Unity News Network. And we've had people from Unity News Network on before. We've had David Clues, and we've had Carl Pearson, and we've had others. And we're looking forward to speaking with Gold Eagle tonight. Now, we're also, of course, running our crowdfunder. We're running our crowdfunder at the moment, and this is going to continue to run through right until the 29th of June. So, folks, where are we at the moment with our crowdfunder? We started it last week. Let's give you a running update on how much is sitting in the kitty at the moment. There we go. Crowdfunder totalizer raised so far £875, which is 35% of our 2.5k total that we're aiming for to get us through to the end of November, to get us through the next 5 months. And so let's revisit that figure at the end of the show, and maybe we'll have hit over 1k, another £125. Tell you what we'll do, let's just keep the wee ticker running along the bottom, and that's all we need to be running at the moment. Good. Nelson says Gold Eagle is a top geezer, ordinary bloke who talks sense. There you go. That's the sort we need, isn't it, Norman? Nelson. Absolutely. Paul Halford is hopeful that a Scottish second breaking up the UK referendum will never happen if they don't care about the £4.5 billion audit Scotland can't find. That's right. It's a bottomless pit. Once you give money to the SNP, it's a bottomless pit. Stuart wonders if anybody else has noticed that reporting Scotland is not giving the Scottish nationalists such an easy ride. Well, I'm glad to hear it. It's only been 20 years, so maybe something has changed. Let's hope so. And Alan asked, did anyone see how George Folks got on today? He was going to raise the issue about the SNP spending money. Well, yes, he was going to raise it, and I believe that he probably did raise it, but he only in the sense of giving a speech in the House of Lords on the matter. So, if we get a copy of his speech, we'll use that on our Facebook page. We'll try to publicise it. If we find it on Twitter, we'll try to publicise it as well. Folks, competition coming up at the bottom of the hour just before our guest. But before we go into before I ask you our competition question, let me talk today about British history. It's time for our On This Day British History Matters. And British history matters because you don't know where you're going if you don't know where you are. And you don't know where you are if you don't know where you've been. So on that thought, it was on this day, 8th of June in 1946, a year after the war ended, that George VI sent a personalised message to every schoolchild in the United Kingdom, and possibly in the Commonwealth, but I certainly know that in the United Kingdom. And we've got a picture of the letter. There it is there. Now, some of you will have that as a family heirloom. And thanks to Finlay for sending his copy of it that belonged presumably to one of his parents sent that to us. And let me just read it out. It says, "Today, as we celebrate victory, I send this personal message to you and all other boys and girls at school. For you have shared in the hardships and dangers of a total war, and you have shared no less in the triumph of the Allied nations. I know you will always feel proud to belong to a country which was capable of such supreme effort. Proud too of parents and elder brothers and sisters who by their courage, endurance and enterprise brought victory. May these qualities be yours as you grow up and join in the common effort to establish among the nations of the world unity and peace. May these qualities be yours: courage, endurance and enterprise." Okay, that's a nice document, and it was in this shape. It was simply just a piece of paper like this on good quality paper and in full colour, and every child got a copy of that. Some of you might have that copy yourselves at home. And that was given to children on this day, 8th of June in 1946. And also on this day, on the 8th of June, we wish a very happy birthday to a great British songstress by the name of Gaynor Hopkins. Now, she's better known to the world as the one and only, the great Bonnie Tyler. And there she is. And isn't that a stunning picture of Bonnie Tyler from her Faster Than the Speed of Night album? Now, Bonnie was born on this day in 1951 in Wales to a coal miner, Gwyndor, and mother Elsie. And according to Wikipedia, her family were, quote, deeply religious Protestants. Her first public performance took place in a chapel as a child, singing the Anglican hymn, All Things Bright and Beautiful. And of course she had hits with Lost in France and It's a Heartache in the late 70s, but it wasn't until she signed with CBS and Jim Steinman started writing songs for her that it was at that point that her voice was able to achieve its full potential in some best-selling albums, and of course the amazing hit single Total Eclipse of the Heart. Okay, and so that Total Eclipse of the Heart, that was number one in 1983, and I thought that was a great song. I still think it's a great song, and I've actually got most of her albums. And to this day, Bonnie Tyler continues to perform and produce new content. And she says that her favourite song is Tina Turner's River Deep, Mountain High. But here's the thing, not many people know that the song for which Tina Turner is famous, Simply the Best, that was actually a Bonnie Tyler song. Bonnie Tyler released that song on her album. She released it as a single from her Hide Your Heart album. And I've got the cassette here. In 1988. So she released that in 1988 and Tina Turner heard it and found it, heard it and turned it into the classic that we know today. But it was actually a Bonnie Tyler song, and you know what, she should get more credit for that. Bonnie Tyler should get more credit for that amazing song. Simply the Best. We're simply the best, and she's simply the best. Fantastic singer, born on this day in 1951 in a place called Skewen, Skewen, in Wales. Okay, now I can see that the one and only Gold Eagle is in the studio, and I'm going to bring Gold Eagle in just a minute. Now, before I do that, though, we always ask a question, and the winner will receive this little badge. E2R 70 years. Send your answer, folks, into contact at A Force for Good. And if you have not tried this before, you're in with a good chance of winning. You're in with a good chance of winning. So what question shall I ask? A very easy one. Fingers on your email buzzers, okay? Fingers ready to fire that email. Who was the original singer of the song Simply the Best? Before Tina Turner found it and made it better known. Who was the original singer of Simply the Best? Easy question, that one, folks. Okay, good. Let us now go to our man Gold Eagle. And let's get rid of that email address. Let me just wait for that to... Okay, there we go. Bringing Gold Eagle in now. Hello there, Gold Eagle.
Good evening, Alistair, and good evening to fellow unionists.
Fantastic.
Well.
I'm very well indeed, and is that your studio that you're in at the moment with that green screen behind you?
Yeah, it is, but Mr. Clues is using the software tonight, so I couldn't. I was going to put something posh behind, like he does, you know, a nice apartment, but no, it's just a creased old green screen I've got at the moment.
Good. Well, Gold Eagle, maybe you could just introduce yourself to our viewers by answering the question: who is Gold Eagle?
Good evening. I am Gold Eagle. Gold Eagle calling. That's one of my taglines. I'm a great believer in the old taglines of the 80s, you know, good game, nice to see you nice, and things like that. And I'm trying to get a few of these lines going on my show. I was born in 1965, which makes me nearly 57 years old.
Same.
Are you the same as well?
Yes.
Oh my goodness! You look. We both obviously bathed in the same fountain of youth. That we look younger than we are.
Well, we both bathed in the same fountain of wisdom anyway, because I think 80s children or people who sort of came of age in the 80s, you know, have got their heads screwed on, generally speaking, unless they're running the government, of course. But generally speaking, we've got our heads screwed on. We had a good life. The world seemed to be quite optimistic. Everything was seemed to be sorting itself out slowly, and there was good programs on the telly, and there was good music. And
yeah. I mean the Bonnie Tyler as well. I didn't actually know that Jim Steinman was writing the words, because I love Jim. It was Jim Steinman's words that more so than the Meatloaf lyrics.
Yes, not for that particular one though. He didn't write. Simply the Best. But it was him that wrote like Total Eclipse of the Heart, Holding Out for a Hero, stuff like that. The stuff that really propelled him.
Was that one of his as well?
Sorry?
It's a Heartache. Was that one of his as well?
No, that was prior to the CBS Jim Steinman era.
Right, but yeah, you're quite right, Alistair. I mean, when we were growing up, we had, you know, everything was brilliant. A lot of people online say, you know, which year would you like to go back in time? If you had a time machine, when would you like to go back to? And I think I would like to go back to the 80s, and you know, still at my age now, and obviously not come forward into this time where we've got so much going on at the moment. I was listening to the start of your show, and it is crazy when you were talking about the 20 million that they've set aside for this Ref 2, and the fact that they won't. They're very happy to, if you were all black or a minority or something, if you were maybe saying, let's talk about trans and things like that, they would have happily laid on all bunting and everything. They'd have most probably given you a budget to go, for promoting force of good. And not only myself, but David and everyone, I think at UNN, I think you do a really good job at Force for Good. This the union, the keeping together of the union, I think is extremely important. One of the comments, I can't read the comments now because I've turned my live feed off, so I can't see what people are actually saying. But one of the earlier comments was saying that the Jubilee came at a time when everything is, there's so much on with the monarchy. And Mrs. Gold Eagle calls it the monarchy pox that she caught. But there has been so much going on with the things with Andrew, and even back in the 80s, I remember when Diana, hello Debbie Beer. That's good. We got it popped on. With Unity News, my show, I actually only just came in as a stand-in for Carl when Carl left. And one of the things, because I was in chat all the time, it's the interaction with everybody. So this is, I love your show because you also do the same as well, Alistair. You read out the comments, and I think it's really thank you, Nelson. I'm glad I am liked. I am hated as well, but. Yeah.
Oh, who hates you? I can't imagine MD hates you. Come on.
Well, what's good is people are very quick to tell you how much they hate you. It's there. Good evening, Harry. Hi, everybody. What's your analysis of the current situation in Scotland? Well, this is why it's so important. I mean, it's the same in Wales. We've got exactly in Wales. I used to live in Cardiff, and I live outside Cardiff now. We had to move because rents just shot up, and so moving outside of a big city, rents become cheaper. And we've got Drakeford in Wales, and he can't even tell you what a woman is. That sort of should tell you something about it. So the Welsh and the Scots, we've always had an affinity together. It used to be our hatred of the English in rugby and football, because we were sort of like on your side, but especially in the rugby as well. We'd want you always to beat England, but there is now an affinity because we're both got. This crazy Nicola Sturgeon, who I sort of like. I liken her to a bit like Angela Merkel. She's sort of this raised by power, and the same with Mark Drakeford as well. They seem to be carried away by it. And some of the things I remember the referendum won, and some of the things that were coming out. All lies about, they're going to run out of oil in the North Sea. This is going to happen. If you, if you believe everything that's in the media, and I think this is the trouble, is that the media seem to like Drakeford. The media seem to like Nicola Sturgeon. And it's a little bit different in Wales, because Wales, you could put a sheep up for a Labour candidate, and they would vote for it because their father voted Labour and their father's father voted Labour. I think it's a little bit different in Scotland. People do look at policies and things, and I think it's not so much Nicola Sturgeon, as horrible as she is. I think it's the way that she's portrayed in the media. When she's not called out. I remember when it was not long ago with the Alex Salmond and that sort of what's it called? When there's the controversy, it's sort of, rather than pushing them at questions, and calling her out everything, because. There's things that we in the alternative media can say, why is this lady still in power? Why are people still, wanting to choose her? Why are they wanting, this referee too, it's, I'm sort of with you guys on that. I really, does it. TC TC, I haven't seen you for ages. As a Unity News member, used to talk to TC in chat on UNM. And in fact, my Wednesdays was always a force for good. And then as soon as the force is good, I'd go over to Unity News and then go and watch that.
Fantastic. Well, because how often do you broadcast? Because just talk to us about your program that you've got and how often that's on.
Well, Unity News Network now broadcasts 7 days a week. We've got 5 lunchtime shows. Oliver Down has since left, and his shows have been taken over by a young boy on the Monday called James Harvey from Students Against Tyranny. It's a really good show. Then on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we have Sean Finch from Delivering Liberty. And he's a London-based, and he does lots of reports. He was covering when Boris Johnson was having that vote. He was there and trying to interview everyone as they were coming out. Got 2 or 3 good interviews with people. And then on a Friday, we've got Anthony Webber, who is he's a bit like an old schoolmaster on there. He's a political commentator, does a lot of work with RT. And then in the evenings, we've got Gold Eagle on a Tuesday and a Thursday.
Right.
So I've taken over Carl's slots. And then on a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and on the Sunday, we've got the Emperor, David Clues.
Well, good. You've got a good team there that's building up, and a good number of viewers as well who are reaching out to just find alternative takes on things. I mean, when did you realise that there was such a thing as an alternative take on the reality that we are meant to accept by the mainstream media, for want of a better term? Have you always been a little bit sceptical of what you're told, or was there a wake-up moment?
Mrs. Gold Eagle actually woke me up. She asked me if I wanted a red pill or a blue pill. And I thought she was getting frisky, you know. I didn't know what I had seen The Matrix, so that was what she was on about, but I didn't cotton on. I am a little bit. You said I was intelligent before, which I take that as a compliment, but I am. One of you people in chat said he's a normal bloke. That's all I am. I'm just Mr. Normal. So Mrs. Gold Eagle woke me up. Hi, Susie Davis. Yeah, he's actually, Carl hasn't left completely. He's just taking a big back step. You've got to remember that Carl is very young, Alistair, and he still wants a career. And unfortunately,
quite right, yeah.
When you talk out about things, you can be attacked, and they can use this as a weapon against you. But to get back to myself and my awakening, so Mrs. Gold Eagle, my lovely wife, she woke me up. There used to be a radio program. It was called The People's Voice or something like that. And you had like the likes of David Icke, Brian Gerrish, who else is there? Richie Allen, all these bit. Mark Windows, I think, was there as well. Windows on the World, all these great people. And I did start to question everything. And I remember when that first referendum, the Scottish referendum, was on, was the first time I got angry about anything, because there was a commentator for the BBC, and I was listening online to where he was interviewing Alex Salmond, and it went on for about 30 minutes. He asked him about 10 questions. And then on the 9 o'clock news, I watched the same programme, and the same journalist said, I asked Alex Salmond the question about such and such and such, and he refused to answer. And it was like, no, he didn't. I listened to that live. You're lying. And I started doing some activism. Mrs. Gold Eagle was in a group called Anonymous, where she used to wear, this Guy Fawkes mask. Oh, just to change the subject as well, because I do sort of chop and change. You were saying about Lord Fawkes, and I was thinking he's a guy, isn't he? Guy Fawkes.
Yeah.
But little things like that. I try and put a bit of comedy on it, because things are really so silly that they are actually quite funny. And I'm surprised that there aren't more comedians, right-wing comedians, that are taking the mickey out of the madness that's going on.
Yeah, I don't. That's a good point. I don't quite know why that is, but I think, well, maybe people who are that way inclined have got better things to do. Maybe they've got jobs, they've got families. They're just keeping the head down, keeping the nose clean, just trying to lead a normal life. I suppose if you, maybe I'm just generalising, but I don't know to what extent people who are more conservative and traditionalist in their view are likely to go into those sorts of entertainment and art and so on. I think there's maybe an imbalance there somewhere. I'm just presuming that. I don't really know. But as you say, there's so much scope for it.
It could be that the media and the agenda are manipulating it in such a way that if you have a wrong opinion, that you're not actually shown, that you can't take the mickey out of Nicola Sturgeon, because that would be bad for her. Mrs.
That's
Gold
absolutely
Eagles
true. Yeah.
Mrs. Gold Eagles just come in and said, I forgot to mention as well, on the Saturday we have the Admiral Darren, and he has a completely different show because he doesn't want to do politics. He's just there for to look at things, conspiracies and stuff like that, but to have a break from the agenda on there. And that's a Saturday show that goes on forever and ever and ever. I think his longest one he's done so far is about 9 hours long. He does marathons. And what I started to call it was watch a man get drunk show, because he's drinking. It's called Drinks with D.
Okay, it's a bit like Pints with Nigel on GB News. Talking Pints, that's what Nigel Farage calls his show, and it's probably just as well that it only lasts for 20 minutes, because I can imagine you wouldn't want to give Nigel too many.
Did you see that clip of Nigel Farage with his Union Jack shoes, his pound coin cufflinks, his little Union Jack bow tie? Have you seen that?
I haven't seen that one,
no,
but I can imagine it.
I'll email you, but it is very patriotic, and it was very good. I mean, obviously we could talk about Nigel Farage for quite a while, but with Brexit on there, my own opinion on Brexit: red pill, blue pill. I took the purple pill. I voted UKIP. Good ideas, but very divided party. Thank you, Paul Hadlow. As I say, sorry to read that one out, Alistair.
By all means,
I can't help it, but it's an involvement with the audience. But yeah, I mean, Brexit for me, it was sort of like one kind of poo or another kind of poo. I don't like the rules that Europe bring in about bananas and stuff like that, but yet the European Union does keep the bank, the City of London, in control. So it's sort of like with Brexit. It was when I first started watching Unity News, and it was one of those ones that it wasn't a decision that I had really one way or the other, because it didn't really change my life as such in there. But I think as well that the fact that we came out of Brexit, but we really didn't, that also was the sort of way that I was feeling as well.
Oh, well, as far as Brexit's concerned, there's a lot of opportunities haven't yet been properly grasped, and we always said at the time it's because the political establishment at the day didn't want that result. They were, for whatever reason, content just to meander on in just this general with under the control or largely the instructions of the European Union. And then when this sort of revolution happened, the politicians, all of them, on all parties, were caught by surprise, and they're still recovering from it. And one of the reasons we know that is because they haven't yet taken full advantage of stuff. I mean, there's lots of things they could have done. They could have abolished VAT, for example. VAT was only set up by us because it was a European Union requirement. And when I was campaigning back in the day, I would say, oh, you could leave the European Union and we could abolish VAT. which was technically absolutely 100% correct and remains so. But we left the European Union and nothing happened with the VAT. I don't know if it's been put up or down or whatever, but I mean, nothing's much has changed, nothing of any. And so there's been no big policy issues that they've said, exactly. Hey, now we're out, we're doing this, this and this. 3 things, major things, which are going to change the direction of the economy and our culture and so on. It's all just like, it's as if there's really no imagination. I think lack of imagination is a real problem among the political class. And then they hitch on to crazy things like, whatever happens to be the latest cultural, strange, weird agenda, which only affects like a minority of people or something like that. So just very sad, really. But we as unionists, we always say to people, look, we're not unionists because we love the particular government that's in power in Britain at the moment, because we know that we're always going to be disappointed with a government, whatever stripe they are. We just love Britain. We love the idea of the unity of all the people of Britain from north, south, east and west. We love that idea of solidarity and working together and staying together and developing shared cultural and social bonds and so on. And those things are enabled by the union, by the political union. When you break it up into 4 different political bodies, it is harder to join socially and culturally and in other ways. So we like the United Kingdom. Doesn't mean we like the particular party or politicians in power, whoever they may be. And goodness me, we know that they're not doing a good job about lots of things. But again, you've got to take the long view, because if you allow each day to upset you with everything that's happening in the world, then you just become a nervous wreck. So you've got to stand back, take the long view, and be a lot cooler about it. And I think I like what you do at UNN as well. You're clearly not somebody that's like totally intensely dominated by what's happening in the world out there.
Well, actually, I am, because at the moment, because I am normal, petrol for the moment. I mean, it was on the news at the moment, up to £2. I mean, I paid 1.79, so that's up 7p in the last week. And I was looking at a comparison with the price of the barrel of oil and how much petrol was 10 years ago, and how much it is now, which is actually less, and it's more expensive. So I don't understand why more people aren't sort of, starting to say, hang on a second, the cost of living is going up. We're not getting recuperated with higher wages. This isn't good. I've got less money in my pocket, and I'm finding it with my shopping. I do the shopping, and literally, right, we're £1.70 for a loaf of bread. It's everything is going up, and there's so many things in the world that we can be getting angry about. I mean, you've got agendas at the moment going on with the Ukraine-Russia conflict. You've got other things as well happening in America. There's things with that I can't talk about, because on YouTube, if I did talk about it, you might get a strike or cut off, which on DLive is really good, because you can just say what you're thinking rather than having self censor yourself. But I don't understand why people aren't getting more cross about it, because prices are high. What's going on?
Yes. Well, it's a good point. I don't have an answer to that, really. But you're certainly right about how the prices have gone up. I don't have a car. I get the bus, and every 2 years they put the bus fare up 5 pence at the most. And I got on it yesterday, and they put it up 15 pence overnight, which is like a big increase. I mean, that's a big increase. That 15 pence increase would normally take 6 or 7 years before that had worked through. But no, just whacked it on you. I was like, okay. Now, I mean, there'll be people for whom they need to be getting on the bus every single day, several times probably. And that's going to really cut in. That's going to start to be as expensive as a car if they're not careful. And it's all happening at the same time as well as that we've been told on all sides that, we've got to cut back on oil consumption as well. But that's and of course, if you cut back on oil consumption, you don't have anything else to power the buses, then of course it's going to get more expensive, Anyway, Samuel says, well said, Alistair, and Gold Eagle, could not agree more. Good. Good. Well, thank you,
it's
Samuel.
It's nice when people agree with you.
It is. I like that. It's much better than when they disagree with you. Well,
But I think the agenda. Oh, we've still got time.
we've got just a couple of minutes. We'll wind down. Yeah.
I was just going to make a point about how
Go
they
ahead.
want to start introducing the electric with the batteries, and it was just because a friend of mine has an electric car. To travel up to Scotland, you've got to stop twice with the electric car, and each time you stop, you've got to charge it for 45 minutes. And it's in a supermarket. You've got to wait for the person. If there's someone using it, you've got to do. So this travel time from Wales to Scotland, which can be done in the guy's normal car, which is an electric, can be done all in one journey with a bit of a tank left. It was just a point about, because you were saying about the buses and the cost. Is increasing.
Yeah. Absolutely, and it's going to go back like to the 1960s when the journey time from Wales to Scotland took about 20 hours or something like that. It was like a major family event, traveling along all these little B roads, and the car breaking down 4 or 5 times, and then getting a flat and all that sort of stuff. And finally you get back to Scotland after this massive adventure that took you ages. And like children of the 60s and 70s know what I'm talking about. But we'll be back to those days where it's like, I can't be bothered travelling because it's going to, like, literally from here to there is going to be hours and hours and hours when you factor in everything else. Stephen says, excellent chat, thank you. We'll look up Unity News. Well, let's just put the DLive address on there. There it is, dlive.tv/Unity News. And just once again, before we bid farewell, you're on what times and what days?
I'm on 8 o'clock. So every weekday it's on at 8 o'clock. Goes on till 9:30, 10, 10:30, something like that, depending on how much news there is. I'm on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and the Emperor David Clues is on a Monday, Wednesday, and the Friday, and then he's on the Sunday as well.
Good stuff. Tuesdays and Thursdays to see Gold Eagle of Unity News on dlive.tv. Gold Eagle, thank you very much for your thoughts. That's 27 minutes have gone very, very quickly. So much more that we can talk about, and hopefully so much more that we will talk about at a future date. But just to say, more power to your elbow and to the great UNN team there. And on that, thank you once again, and we'll bid you farewell. Have a lovely evening.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good stuff. Gold Eagle of dlive.tv/Unity News. A great thinker and speaker and activist. Good stuff. Catherine says, thanks Gold Eagle, I'll look you up. As does Alan, says thanks. And does Samuel. Nelson says, great chat, Alistair and Gold Eagle. That was really enjoyable. Really enjoyed that. Thank you. Thank you. Must have Gold Eagle back again. So much to speak about. And somebody says, fantastic interview. Great. Good to see Derek in the house. Good, good. Now, we're going to be out this Saturday. We have a winner. We have a winner. Let's deal with the winner first. Now, this was for the question, and it was to win this. And the question was, who was the British singer who first sang the song Simply the Best before Tina Turner did it? And the answer was, of course, Bonnie Tyler. And we're giving her credit. And we have a winner, David Stanners. Fantastic. Well done, David. Good to see you. This will be winging your way. Now, David, could you use that same email address, please? And could you send us your address? And what we're also going to do is we will put in a complimentary copy as well of our magazine Union Heart. And for those who don't get it complimentary, you can get it at our shop. There you go. Check that out. And it's also free, of course, to anybody who becomes a union supporter, which is to say a monthly donor. From anything from £5 upwards, you get our magazines sent to you free, and that's a pretty good deal, because our magazines have to be, you have to buy them otherwise. And so becoming a union supporter is a good deal, absolutely good deal. And if you'd like to help us, on Saturday, we're going to be out with a street stall in the Royal Mile, and that will be an appropriate place to be distributing these at our street stall. And you can pick up one at our street stall free of charge. And we're going to be in Edinburgh, and if you'd like to join us, by all means you can contact us and tell us you're coming, or you can simply turn up. We are going to be probably outside the St Giles Cathedral area, and we're going to be there from 12 noon until probably 2:30. There's a big march on going down the Royal Mile from the back of 1 as well, so if you're in the area you want to be conscious that that's going on as well. But we'll be in the Royal Mile from 12 noon until 2:30 this Saturday the 11th, and hopefully we'll see one or two of you there. Please come along, show some solidarity, and we'll have another great day of activism. And as I say, we're out every day this summer. Sorry, we're out every day this June, and we're out several weekends in each of the months, going right through to autumn. Good stuff. Well, there's a nice comment from Stephen. Where has this hour gone? Such a great show. Thank you. Thank you, Stephen, for that. And that's much appreciated. Alan says, well done, David Stanners. And Catherine says, congratulations. And Alan says, well done. And as does Nelson, as does Stephen. Debbie says, congrats. Samuel says, congrats. Derek says, great show. And there we go. Kiyoshi Kawashi says, interesting points raised tonight. VAT needs to go. It's a scam. And I second that emotion. Kiyoshi. Absolutely second that emotion. Good to see Rylan. Everything's going well, Rylan. Thanks for contacting us. We're going to be in Edinburgh in the Royal Mile for everybody to see at our street stall. By all means, if you're in town, we'll be there between noon and 2:30 this Saturday, somewhere outside St Giles Cathedral, with a great team. Good stuff. Now it just remains here to remind everybody about our crowdfunder. It's running until the 29th of September. We're trying to raise 2,500, and we'll put, that's the link there, crowdfunder.co.uk/p/union 2022. Now we'll also put the link up in the comments and you can go straight to it. And we've got some really good prizes, some really nice mugs and some really nice hats. I'll just run you through one or two of the prizes right now. Stitched, well, rewards, shall we say. We've got a red stitched AFFG cap, which you'll be able to find. Here we go. That's stitched. Look at that. That's really nice. We've got one of these as well. We've got it in black as well. And we've also got pictures of the mugs. We've got a Falklands mug because, of course, it's the Falklands. anniversary, 40 years. There we go, 40th anniversary, lest we forget. That's a reward, as is this nice red mug, Queen Elizabeth's Jubilee, and a blue mug as well. Good stuff. Excellent. Excellent stuff, folks. I'm glad that you've enjoyed it. Now, it's 5 past, so the hour has gone. We're going to call it to a close. To remind you, we'll be back next Wednesday, same time, 7 to 8, across all our digital platforms. So it just remains for me to say, God bless the United Kingdom, and God save the Queen. See you next week.